Hi everyone, I'm Cel.
And I'm Cassie.
Welcome to Ara'kara, City of Echoes. This is part of a series of dungeon guides we are releasing in preparation for The War Within. Our guides are heavily focused on the mechanics for normal, heroic, and mythic 0 difficulty. First boss, Avinox.
Just a quick mention that in order to activate this boss, you are going to have to defeat 3 mini-bosses, which are spiders around the room. And another quick mention, don't forget that WoW did make Arachnophobia mode, which is what I'm using in the tank footage. It's a toggle in your settings, and it turns all the spiders into crabs and lobsters. It's honestly very cute. Avinox uses Voracious Bite, leaping to her primary target and unleashing 3 consecutive bites. Each one inflicts physical damage, and the final bite increases damage taken by 100% for 10 seconds. That also summons adds that fixate on random targets. While the adds are up, they will do AoE damage, and you cannot have them hit the boss or the boss becomes enraged. This boss trucks, so if it becomes enraged, it's a real problem for the tanks. Tanks, make sure you're watching out for the crawlers and where they're spawning, and try and take the boss as far away as possible. DPS should be CCing and burning these adds. We definitely recommend using Lust on this boss.
Healers, watch out for yourselves and others walking through the webs. When you walk through a web, you'll take damage. And while the adds are out, everyone is constantly taking damage. Don't be afraid to use some healing CDs here, as long as you aren't about to get slapped by the adds. You may want to save an external cooldown for your tank during Voracious Bite. It frickin' hurts. There is a lot of moving on this fight, but take a breath, dodge the circles, CC your ad, and keep tossing out those heals. A Noob Zect. This boss fights with ads, and there is a lot going on. Get ready.
A player will get targeted with Impale, causing large spikes to come out of the ground, dealing physical damage and knocking players back. It's also going to interrupt your cast, so make sure you're running out of that and pop a defensive. There's also going to be an ability called Infestation. This puts a dot on players, and when the dot expires, after 5 seconds, the ceaseless swarm spawns and starts hunting for another player. Swarm circles around the room. Look at your feet. There will be a small yellow circle that'll spawn around them. Just make sure you're moving. This infestation is now on you, and the swarm keeps moving.
Burrow Charge will target the player that is the farthest away when the boss goes underground. If you're in its path while it's charging the farthest player, you're also going to get knocked back and take damage. At the end of the path, the boss erupts, knocking players back, causing damage, and then casts Impale again at a random distant player. On Mythic, an ad will spawn called the Bloodstained Web Mage, casting Web Bolt on random players to immobilize them. They're also going to cast Revolting Volley, which is party-wide damage, so make sure you're interrupting the ad, please.
At 100 energy, the boss will cast Eye of the Swarm. This is the most chaotic part of the fight. You need to make sure that you're in the circle so that you're not being hit by the big AoE damage, but inside the circle you still need to dodge Ceaseless Swarm and Impale. Did we mention that Eye of the Swarm is also moving? Make sure you're avoiding everything on the ground, impales, and make sure you're moving with the circle. Healers, good luck. Instant casts are going to be your best friend during this. It's going to be harder to channel anything or hard cast, so try to plan accordingly.
Next up, Kikatal, the Harvester. If I've said that wrong, well, welcome to my life. One of the main mechanics of this fight doesn't even come from the boss. The Bloodworkers are the stars of the show. These Bloodworkers will drop very important pools when they're hit. When the boss casts Cosmic Singularity, all players will get sucked into the boss and then immediately pushed away, likely killing all who get sucked in. If you do survive the blow, you are also given a debuff, increasing the damage you take by 75% and reduces the damage you do by 75% for 12 seconds. You're dead. Just do the mechanic if you wish to live. So, make sure you're standing in a pool that has been dropped. These pools cannot be shared with other players.
The boss casts Venom Volley, which hits all players, reducing their movement speed by 30% and inflicting damage while applying a dot. The boss also casts Erupting Webs. Avoid the palish circles on the ground, or you're going to take damage and be stunned for 6 seconds.
So, remember the pools you need to stand in for the Cosmic Singularity? Standing in the Grasping Blood pools will root you, but you can use abilities like Hand of Freedom, Fade, Tiger's Lust, Shapeshift, Escape Artist, Come Through, Gnome Utility to break the root. But the ad that dropped the pool, well, they're gonna fixate you, so make sure you DPS them down.
The other ability that happens during this fight is Cultivated Poisons. When this is dispelled, poison waves erupt from the player, so avoid the waves. Oh, and also, when the duration runs out of the debuff, the eruption is going to happen anyway. Make sure that you're spreading out and try to aim your waves away from other players, or you're going to get yeeted around the room.
And just a note, this is a very healing intense fight. So DPS, please try to help your healer by attacking or slowing their ad for them so they can keep everybody up and alive. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed our dungeon guide.